Episode 29, Connecting Back to Food and Community with Permacare.
Welcome to Thriving with Nature, a podcast that gives you the tools you need to live a modern lifestyle that helps regenerate our planet. And now your host, Hayley Weatherburn.
Welcome, Thrivers, to this week's podcast. I am with a very special guest this week. I have Scotty Z in the house. Welcome to Thriving with Nature.
Woo, so good to be here, Hayley. I'm so excited about this. We just reconnected. We haven't spoken to each other in a couple of years since Bali. You're still in Bali, yeah?
I'm still in Bali. You said rainy. It's rainy at the moment for you. Is that right?
On the Gold Coast, southern Gold Coast. We got some good rains for the gardens. And super excited about this conversation, Thriving with Nature, Permacare. We're on the same mission. So thank you for inviting me for this conversation.
You're so welcome. Well, as soon as you shared what you were doing with Permacare, I was like, this is exactly what our Thrivers need to hear about. So to introduce yourself, for those that haven't met you, do you want to share a little bit about you and how you came across building Permacare? Yeah,
beautiful. And just so you guys know, starting this, Hayley's like, you've done so many things over the years since we met. I think we've known each other probably 8 years now or something, 9 years. You've done so many things over the years. How do I introduce you? You just introduce yourself. And it's true. My path has been a meandering journey, like all rivers that flow to the ocean. There isn't many rivers that go in a straight line. Can you hear the rain? Oh, it's so beautiful. It's hammering down outside. So, my journey has been a meandering path. Over the last 20 years, I've done everything I can to surrender to the guidance within me. At 19, 20, I had a big awakening process after getting 16 criminal convictions. A guy tried to kill me. I fist fought my father. And life was just very, very difficult those teenage years. And after the hammer fell, I thankfully got a no recorded conviction, but the guy whose car I tried to steal, I was in a lot of pain back then, Hayley. He decided that me going to jail wasn't a good thing. And the next day he followed me to work. And then over the next week, he threatened to kill me several times. We got a restraining order, broke the restraining order, and he tried to end my life. I found myself under a blanket in the back of my dad's car being rushed to the airport. And I left Brisbane, arrived back in Cairns a month before my 20th birthday. And I just broke down. And I realized if I kept doing what everyone wanted me to do, I was at uni studying applied science, then got out of that, didn't really want to be in a lab, started working in sales. Within a few months, I'm managing Vodafone stores. I had 4 stores under my belt by the time I left. At 19, I was making, way too much money, didn't know what to do with it, just very good with people, good with sales. But I was miserable. I was so unhappy. And so I decided to top the mountain in Cairns after fleeing, that I was going to be happy and I was going to do everything that I wanted to do. And I didn't know what that meant, but I felt if I did what I wanted to travel, I wanted to do adventure sports. I loved nature. I wanted to jump out airplanes and go scuba diving, do all these fun things that would make me happy. And it'll be in January to be 20 years. So almost there. Almost to 40 now. It's been an amazing 20 years. And all I've done is everything I can to just follow my heart. And so launching Permacare 4 months ago with COVID, Permacare has been a vision for about 12 years now of helping us to reconnect to nature. In my 20s, I was an adventure guide. So I was rafting guide, a kayaking guide, I'm a dive instructor. I jump out of airplanes. I've got my boat tickets. I'm a rock climbing instructor. I can guide like over 10 different adventure sports. And I just wanted to travel and have fun. End of my 20s, around 28, I had Saturn return. And I realized that I know a lot about nature, but I don't know how to grow food. And so at 28, I met a nice girl, got a white picket fence home. I actually did. White picket fence. And I thought I was going to marry her. And I worked for 2 years as a landscape gardener, specializing in vegetable gardens and growing food. All I wanted to do was grow food. After a couple of years of that, I got into the thought leader entrepreneur space around Green School and Roger Hamilton. And I moved to Bali, worked at the Green School for 2 years doing outdoor education, taking the kids into nature and working in the professional development space with Tyler Tolman, who is a mutual friend of ours, doing that. And then with Roger doing the entrepreneur stuff. And over the last 10 years, the journey's really been me learning how to reach people with a vision that I have, that if we come together and we link arms, we can do this. We can create our own society We can create our own way of living, thriving with nature again, like we're supposed to, rather than 6-foot fence syndrome and stranger danger and everyone's disconnected. I believe that we can, at this time, come back together and create a really prosperous, beautiful way of living. Hence, when COVID hit, before that, I was teaching online. I had an online program teaching leadership and to find your voice and share it as a coach or a consultant or a network marketer. I still really enjoy that, getting leaders out there into the world. But with COVID, I felt, okay, people are ready. People are ready now to do something different. And this big vision I have of our own society, our own education, our own schools, growing our own food again, that's where Permacare is at now, and sharing that in our own network rather than it being controlled by corporations. We can do this now. And so I invested my savings into launching this new vision of Permacare, and we're going good, step by step. It's early days, but a lot of people are getting on board with what we're doing, and we're about to start doing some gatherings here on the Southern Gold Coast. So bringing community together in the real. Now we're allowed to again, which is a bit crazy. And step by step, we're doing it.
It's what an incredible story. Thank you for sharing, firstly. And you can see where you've come through and what you've come through and why Permacare is just, it's like right at the right time. Like you said, people are now open. I think when it was interesting, when COVID and the urgency started hitting, when everyone was running for toilet paper, I was running for seeds. I was like, now's the time we've got to grow our garden. And that's obviously, what you're sharing about. So, are we putting the website link under here for those that are listening, permacare.org? Can you share a bit about, because there's sort of 3 stages of Permacare, and sort of, can you share a bit about the vision and where you're at now and where it's heading?
Yeah, so the bigger vision is, again, us being able to create our own society. I believe that there's a big shakeup right now, that there is a divergence of people. There are some people who are screaming for the government to do everything that they can and help me, socialism, give me money, please put the vaccine in my arm, I need it right now. And then there's other people, and I'm of this ilk, are saying, hang on a second, that's not what I want at all. I want to come back together with good, beautiful human beings and educate and help our children to grow and prosper, have organic, healthy food, look after ourselves in a natural way. Thriving with nature just says it all, right? Like that's exactly what we're all about. And I believe that there is this separation. So I'm saying, hey, look, there's enough of us. Why don't we just come together and figure this out? I don't have all the answers. I'm a good facilitator. That's what I've been doing forever, bring people together for those conversations, whether teenagers or adults, whether they're rafting or they're sitting in a field or a classroom, it doesn't matter. I can help facilitate that. But what do you reckon? What do you reckon? What do you bring to the table? And so I want to bring the leaders together and those passionate people to co-create a new way of living for ourselves. So that's the bigger vision of Permacare, where we've started with the food sovereignty. We spoke about this before, but on camera now, we're going to speak about it, is food to me, Hayley, is our primary relationship with Mother Nature. When we eat, we become that food, right? It literally becomes our cells. That is the food that's in my hand today is the cells of my body tomorrow.
You are what you eat, yeah.
We are what we eat, literally. Not just, you eat healthy, you are healthy, but literally the cells become, the nutrients, the water, like that's who we are. And yet, and most people don't think about that. And yet right now, food and us, humans, is completely separate. Where does food come from? Most people think food comes from Coles and Woolies. Where did it come from before that? Well, if you look at it, the majority of our food is corporate-owned farms, let alone corporate-owned transport companies that are sending it to corporate-owned food outlets like Coles and Woolies and the others. It's complete corporations controlling it. If you have a look at Agenda 2030, the UN Sustainability Goals, the actual push is to get smaller farmers off the land and it to be controlled by corporate entities, again, creating a further disconnection. And what I'm saying is, hang on a second, if that is our primary relationship, and we know that stress and depression and suicide, which is a massive problem, mental health itself, is scientifically linked to a connection with other people and connection with Mother Nature, with humans and Mother Nature, right? And we are being drawn away, pulled apart from that relationship. Well, I'm saying, well, let's just reverse that. Let's get people back on the land. So phase 2 of Permacare. Phase 1 of Permacare is we're creating the distribution network. Phase 2 is we're empowering local growers. For phase 3 is we're creating an integrated food network in our local community. So I look at it this way. There's some really passionate people that just want to grow food. But a lot of them, they're not the type of people that are going to go and work in a corporate job or start a big business to spend $1 million to buy a piece of land, because that's how much it costs these days. But they're just born to grow food. And I'm saying, well, there's some people around here, especially where we're on the Southern Goldie, that have got all this land. They work their butts off. They're sitting on this land. They're beautiful people, but they don't want to grow any food. They want to relax. So phase 3 is let's find the growers. Let's find the landholders. Let's create an agreement. Put the growers on the land. Hey guys, I've got 3 acres. I don't use the acre down there. We just mow it. I pay $200 a week for a bloke to come out and whippersnip, like come and use it. Great. We'll grow food, and then we'll distribute directly from our land, our growers, to our people. It's all organic, spray-free. We're regenerating the soil. We're using permaculture principles. We're using syntropic agroforestry to regenerate the soil, so there's good nutrients in there. But because we're going directly from our land and directly to our network, one, it takes the burden off the small-scale organic farmers, which if you go to the local markets around here, which I've gone to all of them, it's the same 5 farmers. There's 5 farmers selling at every market. So what happens if there was a problem with the food distribution network, which could happen in the next few years, Haley, we don't know, they wouldn't be able to keep up. Let's create our own. Let's empower the growers. Let's get them on the land. Let's go direct from growers to our network. And so that's Permacare now, is creating food security, which should be on our minds right now, but most importantly, prosperity. What does it look like to have affordable, locally grown, organically produced food that's within 25 kilometres of me? Not grown in bloody Melbourne, shipped to Brisbane, sit in cold storage there, shipped back to the Goldie warehouse, then go over to the Coles in the Pines, and then finally eat it 3 months later. Real food. So that's what Permacare is focused on now, is that food prosperity. Because once food's taken care of, survival's taken care of, you get out of fight and flight, which a lot of people were in a few months ago and may come again with the second wave, and we get back into love, and then we can innovate our way forward. So that's why food is the first focus with Permacare.
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing to see this coming through. And something that you said there about connecting back to nature and food being that place. I mean, people gather around food. I saw it, you were talking about this in one of your vision videos of Permacare about, and it's not just about that. Those that listen to my podcast, I often talk about my favorite book, Anastasia, and we talk about she talks about the closer you are to where that fruit was picked and you're eating it, the higher nutrients and the higher level of nourishment that your body and your organs are going to receive, and therefore create a better health. And she talks about connecting us back to nature, connection, because we're so disconnected right now. And it's such a beautiful way. It's just so obvious for people that are listening. It's such an easy decision to make that they can go on your website, order a weekly box of amazing organic groceries, knowing that it's regenerating the land close to them, knowing that it's only just been picked and it hasn't traveled far, that you're going to be nourishing your organs. I had an interview with a guy, Dan Kittredge, in the last podcast 2 weeks ago, and he talked about how you can have 2 carrots and one can be 200 times less polyphenols, which is like antioxidants, in that carrot than one that's grown the way you're growing it in Permacare. Like, amazing. It's amazing. And so, all of a sudden you are really nourishing your body just by switching from getting a box of groceries from Coles, but getting it from Permacare. It's really amazing. Yeah. And then, of course, that connection of community.
Yeah, exactly. Well, community is everything. But I look at it like me doing outdoor adventure guiding or outdoor education. We're great. Like, we take, people out to nature, kids or adults out to nature, and do an immersion program. They camp out, they're doing these activities and stuff, but then they go home. What changes, versus creating an experience for people that every day when they eat, they're connected to that. And then we're actually, as I said, we're starting on August 9th, bit of a teaser here, guys,
Oh,
for those
exciting.
listening. August 9th, in a couple of weeks' time, we've actually rented out. I'm just finished signing the contract now. Every Sunday for the next 6 months, a big hall down here on the Gold Coast, details to come, where we're going to be doing from 8 till 5:30 every Sunday, a full community day with music, gardening, workshops. We're going to be actually be doing some action, so lots of things that people are passionate about, or the keyboard warriors right now. I'm saying come into the real. Let's start to do some things. Kids' education, teens' rites of passage, men's work, obviously the food, know your rights stuff, the vaccination thing's a big deal. There's so many things that people are focused on from their keyboards. I'm saying every Sunday, let's do the work. Yeah. Let's create action groups. Let's find solutions. Let's support each other. And so, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to start that. And it'll be like, the old village. Every week they came together. If you were in a Christian village, then you had the church every Sunday, right? And all your people were there. You showed up and you'd connect with everybody and have a good time. Jews, it'd be the Saturday. Buddhists, I don't think they're on the Saturday as well or Sunday. Or the Hare Krishnas are on the Sunday. They do their big thing down here. They've got Hare Krishna. You've been there. I saw your video about that. The Hare Krishna temple, right?
I think so. No.
I think you were there. Oh, I thought you were there. Oh, I saw a video. You were looking at the syntropic agroforestry.
Yes. Yeah. That's not near there. Yeah, it's in Gabala.
Oh, I don't know. They would in Murwillumbah. There's a big Hare Krishna temple, and they grow food and have community gatherings every Sunday.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the same thing. Just a place for the village to gather and thrive together. Right, so that's about to start too.
Well, that's it. So that's like it's starting to lead to phase 3, which is that whole community and getting together and bringing our knowledge together and connecting. I want to go back to that phase 2 that you were talking about. For those people, because there's a lot of people there out there that want this beautiful food, and they've got a garden and they want to participate. Do you want to talk a bit about those people? Because I think what I loved when I was listening to, going on the website and reading through it, you talked about how imagine someone else just coming and looking after your garden. There's a lot of people out there that want to be connected to nature, but they kill everything that they plant because they just don't understand and don't have time to learn. And I love this piece where you can almost give them this empowerment, like this. I have a growing garden that's feeding my neighbors, and I get food from it, and I don't have to do anything. I come home from work and it's there. I'm still participating. Do you want to talk a bit about how that's come about? That's a great connection piece.
Yeah, so when I was gardening, that was 10 years ago, I was landscape gardening, had my big akubra. I had a good akubra too. It was nice. And I just had my head down, I just gardened. But one thing that we did is we had the ute. I had a couple of utes with the boys. And Jory, if you're watching, mate, love you. He's one of my best mates. He still has his company. He's grown it now, and so he does big, multi-six-figure landscaping jobs. But back then, we were going around with a whippersnipper, mower, a blower, and I would do the maintenance side a lot, and he'd do the landscaping side a lot. And so we would drive around, and we'd come in, and you'd spend an hour at this place, and you'd whippersnip, you'd mow, you'd blow. Back in the day, we were spraying weeds, and then in an hour, you're out. You're on to the next place. It might be a half an hour job. It's just a small one. Quickly mow the front, get it out, and then you drive to the next spot. And in a day, you get 5 or 6 houses done, depending on the size of them, of maintenance, right? And so I'm saying, well, we're going to do that at Permacare. So people that want that food security in their backyards, but they don't necessarily want to do the heavy lifting, because gardening is a lot of work sometimes. It's not for everybody, but it is for some people, and some people just love it. And so our team will actually come out, and this is what we're about to launch phase 2 now with the growing the gardens. I'm just putting it up on the website at the moment. We've got a really great permaculturalist that's come on board. He's chomping at the bit to get going. He's just been sick for a couple of weeks, but we're about to start. And then so we'll come in and build all your gardens and plan them out and everything. But once a week, once a fortnight, once a month, or once a season, we'll come out and we'll actually do the heavy lifting. So say if it was once a week, once a fortnight, we might come in and we'll weed, we'll mulch, we'll replant, and we'll harvest a bit of the stuff that needs to be done. You come home, there's a beautiful basket of food sitting on your front porch. You're like, oh, the Permacare team's been awesome. You go out the back, you notice the new seedlings. And then throughout the week or fortnight, you come out and you play, you know, you pick some greens and some herbs, all the tomatoes ready, all that capsicum's good to go, you know, and you get to enjoy the garden. But our team will come in and do the composting and, you know, the fertilizing anew and the heaviest sort of stuff that you don't necessarily want to do, so you can enjoy it, right? Same as your garden, whippersnip and mow guy, so you can enjoy it. So we're bringing that with the Permacare aspect.
And so some people that may live in apartments or balconies, is there any way they can participate as well or have something?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been asked that question a few times, and what we're looking to implement is balcony gardens. You know, Shorey, my mate there, he's just created a whole vertical garden system with an aquaponics setup. So we want to put in vertical gardens. We're putting in little, you know, herbs and greens are really great to grow on a balcony, because herbs and greens are the things that, in my belief, Hayley, when we nurture something, we imbue that with our own energy fields. We're all energy, right? So if we're caring for some little greens or some little herbs or something, we're actually fusing our energy with that growth. And then when we go and make our food, that also has its own energy field, but that's been grown, you know, hopefully locally, not down in bloody Melbourne or somewhere else on the other side of the world, but the closer to you, the better, right? But then when you take a few greens or herbs from your little balcony garden or your backyard garden or whatever, and you add them into your salad or into your stew or your food or whatever, my belief is that because you've connected your energy with what you're growing, when you add that, it's like homeopathy, that little amount will actually change the energetic field of that food, so that when you're eating it, your body is more aligned to that food, which then it absorbs and becomes you in a more effective, efficient way, because you've nurtured and loved those herbs over many weeks and months. Yeah. So definitely having that relationship, even if it is on a balcony in an apartment, is beautiful.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm currently on a journey with what I call the living supplement garden, again, inspired by the book of Anastasia, where you participate and connect with a garden through these different processes. And when you eat from this garden that has been connected, you are talking to it, you're touching it, you know, you're actually rinsing off a bit of your body into the garden. The plants, the hypothesis is the plants are actually reading our body's condition. And so it grows the substances that your body needs exactly and ends up helping you move towards optimal health. So, energetically, I agree. Like there is, you know, there's a lot of studies everyone's heard about talking to plants or ignoring them or all that kind of stuff, that I feel through what I've been learning through soil advocacy training. I'm studying the soil food web and all those things, is the microbes that live on those leaves and those plants also have a lot to do with, because we have microbes in our gut as well. So there's this beautiful synergy. So having herbs on your balcony, even just adding a bit of coriander or parsley or whatever to your salad is totally going to make a huge difference. It's so exciting, and it all begins with the gathering of the food, the gathering around, starting that process. So phase 1, just to summarize, is people can start to order on your website. That's right, yeah? And where are you in Australia at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm in Burleigh right now, you know, Burleigh, Gold Coast. Yeah. This is my office. My home is in Currumbin. I live on the 2 creeks down here, which is great. Nice. And we deliver now every Thursday from the northern end of the Gold Coast all the way up to Runaway Bay and Ormeau, for those that live around here, all the way down into the northern rivers as far south as Hastings Point, which is halfway to Byron. We don't go as far as Byron. It's a bit far now. Yet. Oh, we want to grow. I've had so many people on the Sunny Coast. Big ups to the Sunny Coast crew up there. You guys are chomping at the bit for Permacare, and we're going to get there. That'll be next. But right now, people can go and order if they live in that region, and every Thursday we will deliver. We currently get our greens and our herbs from a little permaculture community called Famunity up in Natural Bridge. They are incredible. It's a little community living sustainably with the land, and they grow that all. We drive up there every week and we pick them up. And we have 3 farms across the border that we buy the rest of our produce from, small scale, spray-free organic, and we pick that up every Thursday as well. And then we box them up. People can order either a seasonal box, which is a bit cheaper because we sort of put the seasonal stuff, or they can order per item. We also have a range of organic groceries, be it tinned or packet stuff, but also all the bulk foods, nuts, seeds, flours, grains, all of the stuff. So we're delivering anyway. We might as well bring everything.
Yeah, amazing.
We just buy it in bulk and then bring it to you. So that's phase one. That's where we're at, and people can order that now.
That's awesome. On Permacare, PERMACARE.org. I'll make sure I put a link, of course. And so is the vision to create these little communities, these little beautiful communities all over? Can people who are in other areas put their hands up and say, hey, I'd love to help Permacare get here? Is there a way that they can help it spread? Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. So we need passionate people. So the bigger vision, Hayley, is over the next 5 to 10 years, I want to grow community centres, Permacare villages, all around Australia and New Zealand. My vision within 10 years is to have 100 centres where it is a place where you can come and your people are there, right? I was talking about that divergence. I call us like the 10%. There's 10% of people out there that are fucking cool. We're just fucking awesome. We just want to hang out with each other. We want to have a good time. And then there's the other people that are just like, all right, mate, drink your stubby and, watch the footy and no dramas. No offense to anyone drinking stubbies and footy, but you know what I mean, right? The typical, I'm not really interested in hanging out with you too much, mate. There's not really a connection here. And that's cool. But I want to have a place where we can go and we're all vibing around the same unifying principles, right? Where we can educate our kids, where we can grow together, where we can celebrate, where we can learn, where we can support, and we know our food is there. So these permaculture villages, right now, we're working on the Gold Coast. Sunny Coast crew is yelling pretty loud, so I'd like to get a centre up there. I'd love to get a centre in Brisbane and Sydney and Wollongong and Newcastle and Perth and Hobart and yada, yada, you name it. We want to be able to develop a model here on the Gold Coast that passionate people, like you're saying, can say, hey, we're really keen to get something going here. And we're like, sweet, we've got all the marketing worked out. I imagine it like a, the model of like Guzmani Gomez is a really great example.
Like a franchise kind of?
Franchise. That's it. Franchise. Thank you. We're in-house. We can do all of the marketing. We can take care of the technical, logistical stuff that's really a pain in the ass and have a team doing that for everyone. And then these communities can just focus on the grassroots of growing, distributing, holding the gatherings, holding the circles, being able to support each other. So leaders showing up and saying, hey, we're in Albany and we're pretty passionate about getting this going. Can we plug into the network? And we're like, absolutely. We'll send a team down to train you. We'll help you to implement the site. We'll help you to get the gathering started and find the growers and all of that. We might spend a few months there getting them fired up and then, okay, good luck out there, guys. We'll do all the in-house crazy stuff. You focus on the community, bringing the educators, all of that stuff. So we want to pop these up all around Australia. We're looking for passionate people.
That's awesome.
So if that is someone, reach out to me.
That's
either
you.
go to permacare.org and then just you can send us a contact there that'll come to either me or Larissa. Larissa's the manager. She looks after the managerial stuff. I get to be the visionary and passionate guy out there. So one of us will reply. But, yeah, we were looking to get as many passionate people on board as possible.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And definitely, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast and what I'm all about is about creating a life and a modern life. It doesn't have to be we go back into caves and things, but a modern lifestyle that's thriving with nature. So we're regenerating soil. We're going back to the fact that nature is abundant. It naturally is. So coming together, connection, this is a great way to start. Permacare is, a great way to start around the food just by changing the dollar. We vote with our dollar and helping out Permacare and then starting to meet the other like-minded people. It's like, well, if I like this, I'm going to go to these gatherings because there must be other people like me that sort of start to think the same way. And that's where that beautiful connection starts. So I'm very, very excited for you guys. I'm going to be watching all the way over here from Bali. And I've actually sent your website out to all my friends on the Gold Coast. So you guys know who you are.
Thanks, Holly.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So I really want to thank you for your time today and sharing Permacare. And I really wish you the best of luck and think this is the way of the future, is this coming back to the villages, coming back to the intimate connections, coming back to touching nature and understanding and watching. I was just a friend just reached out. She's starting a group of 2 to 4 year olds and she wants to start showing them how tomatoes grow. Let's cut open a tomato and look at the seeds and show them, because for a while there we got so disconnected. Where does a chicken come from? Oh, the supermarket. It's different to a real chicken because we haven't seen that there's a connection. You know what I mean? So connecting everything. So it's very, very exciting.
And I reckon that's why I love what you're doing, the Thriving with Nature. I reckon that's the future. Hey, we talk about, people are, revolution. And I'm like, well, there's two meanings to revolution. One is to revolt and one is to revolve. Both are a revolution. I'm saying that we need to revolve back to how we always were before the brainwashing, before the Industrial Revolution, the monocropping mainstream agriculture, where villages thrived, we supported one another, we knew each other, we were connected to each other. It's only been 100 years that the lever has really pulled us in the opposite direction. It's not hard to get back the other way. And I believe with everything that's going on in COVID, that's what people are calling for, to revolve back to, revolution.
Well, my favorite quote by far is by Buckminster Fuller, and it's, "You never change things by fighting against the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete." And that's what I see Permacare is doing. So it's really, really exciting.
We launched Permacare, Hayley, because everyone out there, all I got at the start of COVID lockdown was fight this and sign this petition and this and that. And I was like, yeah, at first, and I was grateful. I was sitting a lot of ayahuasca ceremonies at the time. I actually went to the medicine and did like 5 ceremonies in 8 weeks because I was like, okay, I need to surrender. I cannot fight. I'm a fighter. I got a black belt in karate and, state champion 6 times, Australian titles. Like, I'm a fighter. That's what I do. I love to fight. But it doesn't get me where I want to be. That's my generational conditioning of how you survive in this reality. Yeah. And I come through as a very strong man and I come through to fight. But I realized through this, the fighting, who am I fighting against? I'm fighting against other beautiful human beings that are just trying to figure their way out as well. They got their own path. Why do I want to fight? People say, oh, you're fighting the Illuminati. Maybe, but why? Am I going to beat them? No. I don't even know who they are. Right? Why am I trying to fight them? And I stepped back and said, well, instead of fighting, like Buckminster Fuller's saying, let's come up with a new solution or solutions. Let's create a new way of being and just put down the weapons, mate. Just stop fighting and take up the tools and get to work and create what we want.
Yeah, I think the first time I heard it was with Mother Teresa, how she said she'd never attend a peace, what was it, a anti-war rally? Because to me, you're just adding to the fight. It's like let's just be in the peace. So yeah, really, really excited for you. Thank you so much, Scotty.
Thanks,
and if you're listening, definitely head over to permacare.org. I'll pop the link below. But thank you so much.
And if you're listening over on my channel, because I'm sharing this as well, go and check out Thriving with Nature. I want you to dive into what you're doing if you're up for it, but because it's your audience,
sure.
Tell us more about what you're doing before we run away.
Sure, Scotty. Thank you. Yeah. For those are new who are listening, and hi, all those watching live over on Facebook. Thriving with Nature is exactly that. My passion is to connect people to the magic of nature. We've lost that curiosity. I want to bring back Santa Claus is real. There is so much magic happening inside nature. And my main project is the Living Supplement Garden, where I am looking at the science and the microbiology behind this garden that can read your body's condition and grow the optimal, grow the substances it requires, that your body requires to grow to optimal health. So it's an exciting journey, and the more I'm diving in, the more I'm learning. It's really exciting. So you can join me. You can come check it out. There's a free guide called the Living Supplement Guide on thrivingwithnature.com. And I'd love to, when I get back over to Australia eventually, when borders drop, I'd love to come to one of those gatherings and check it out. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a great idea, the supplement garden. I didn't realize that's what it meant. Is imagine that your garden actually gave you exactly what your body needed because of that close relationship, rather than having to supplement externally and hope that that's what your body needs.
Exactly. Well, we get so caught up in the supplement, I need vitamin D, I need this. If we step back out, and if you listen to Dan Kittredge's interview last week, we talk about how the fact that our body, when we come back and connect to nature, our body knows exactly what it needs. We don't need to know the name of it, vitamin K, vitamin this. It's through flavor. And when your vegetables and your fruit are tasting, like flavor is the nutrients. That's the key. We are animals, and the way we find the best fruit and vegetables, we'll taste it. You know, you've bitten into a carrot and it tastes like crap because guess what? There's no nutrients in it. Yeah. And so it's allowing that when we start to connect to nature, I'll walk in my garden behind there and I'll just suddenly have this urge, this connection. I want to eat some mint. I don't know why, but I trust that my body is already sussing out. It knows that it needs what's on that mint at the time for my body. And so coming back to really getting in tune with ourselves and nature, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, that is the future. That's where we're going for sure. Not this artificial world in big cities with surveillance cameras. Like back into nature, good harmonious relationships with other human beings, and that relationship to thrive with nature. We're saying the same thing.
I know. Awesome. It's exciting. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for watching, and for those listening on the podcast, I'll see you on the next week. All right.
Thanks, guys. See you. Bye.
Hey, if you enjoyed listening to my podcast, remember to subscribe to hear more. You also have to come check out the Living Supplement Garden, a garden that reads your individual's body's condition and grows the substances it requires to move towards optimal health and potentially healing your ailments. When we align with nature, we thrive with nature. I'd love to have you join myself and others as we discover the magic of nature together and strive to heal both ourselves and our planet. Go to thrivingwithnature.com.